What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Kyle Kelly live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel Thursday afternoon. This is going to be our new spot for the Notre Dame recruiting update show here at Blue and Gold, as we have really unique show names. Notre Dame recruiting update, Notre Dame football show, Mike Goolsby show. We really didn't make these too complicated. Hey Horka is the best we've got in terms of creativity with these names. But yeah, during football season, we do Thursday afternoon for these, as we travel a lot on Fridays. So yeah, looking forward to our Thursday slot here. Kyle, you got the fresh cut. You doing good, my friend?
Yeah, I think so, man. It's football's in the air, as our buddy Juicy J has been talking about on the Loose Emoji message board.
You don't
Things are right
you don't
around the
need to
corner.
give Juicy J any shout outs on here. Juicy J,
Hey, man,
you're welcome.
good guy, Indianapolis product.
He's all right. He's all right. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, folks, on the video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. 16 days away from Notre Dame at Texas A&M, and while this is a recruiting show, we will talk about some football news news, for the lack of a better term. I know my camera, man, it's something over here, but it's something. We're gonna talk about that here in just a moment. But yeah, like Drew says, smash the like, folks. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. And if you listen via podcast, appreciate you guys as well. Would please just ask if you like the show. Leave us a kind review on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you can write an explanation of why you like the show, that would be great. Very much appreciated. So the first order of business here, Kyle, is a little tweet from Tyler here for the second media viewing session in a row, which I think their last viewing was it Saturday? So it was a little while ago. But left tackle Anthony Knapp, left guard Sam Pendleton, and then the right side of the line is as to be expected. You got Ashton Craig at center, and then Billy Schrauth at right guard, Emil Wagner at right tackle. But do you think this is something? Do you think it's nothing? Because it seemed like, Joe Rudolph even said, we have our solution, and it's Anthony Knapp, it's Tosh Baker at left tackle. But, Knapp is getting looks here at this first team O-line, as well as Sam Pendleton over Coogan and Spindler, who have played a lot of football for Notre Dame. Do you think this is something? Do you think it's nothing?
No, I definitely think it's something. With 16 days before Notre Dame kicks off the 24 season against Texas A&M, they're not going to be wasting practice reps. But yet again, now as I say that, I'm starting to think about how they kind of probably want to work different combinations in there, because they're going to need some of these young guys to be ready at any point this season. We saw it last year when Notre Dame dropped down to their third center late in the season, I think against Clemson. That's when Ashton Craig emerged, and he really he secured that starting center spot from there because he just played so well. So that was the other thing I was thinking about as soon as I saw this, is that maybe Knapp and Pendleton has just given Joe Rudolph no choice but to put them into the starting lineup with it as well as they played. But I don't think, for example, Knapp's emergence maybe isn't as surprising, since it just seems like Tosh Baker really hasn't been able to make his move. That's why Emil Wagner beat him out on the right side. Of course, Tosh is now on the left side, replacing the injured Charles Jagusaw, who's probably going to be out for the season, or is already out for the season. And Knapp has continued to emerge. I know this is a guy you've seen down in Georgia. I've talked to his all-line coach a couple times last year. He ended up blowing up as a recruit, finishing as a top 100 prospect. So
Yeah.
Also him enrolling in the spring seems to give him an edge. Sam Pendleton's always looked like the most ready guy out of that 23 class. So some very interesting developments.
I'm calling bull crap. Not surprised about Knapp. Seriously, Knapp, love him. Even with an injury, Knapp starting left tackle. That no one would have called that. Even the biggest Anthony Knapp supporters, no one would have said Yeah, one offensive tackle goes down. If Jagasaw goes down, yeah, I can see Anthony Knapp as the team's starting left tackle. Ain't no one would have said that unless you have a UND email. You're their
Hey,
coach, in other words.
here's the fascinating thing about Anthony Knapp is he was working at center for parts of the spring too. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure like they fully invested him being an offensive tackle until the offseason. So
yeah,
that just makes his emergence even
yeah.
that more remarkable.
And then the Pendleton thing. So someone just commented, where's Tim Hyde when you need him? Jay Carr says, here's what Tim said. Said 2 camps in a row, Joe Rudolph showing it's a nonstop competition. Look for the best 5 every day. Tim's a huge Joe Rudolph fan. But yeah, for me, is it something? Is it nothing? In terms, it's something, and just how good Knapp is, and Pendleton's clearly emerging. But is it something for the A&M game? That is what remains to be seen here. Event like it might mean more about Tosh Baker than it does Anthony Knapp. There's a lot of ways to look at this thing, but I am a little bit nervous. I am a little bit nervous about the O-line in general going into your first game is on the road at A&M. You can't really replicate what that environment is like like you how do you prepare for that? And if you're telling me that even if it is Tosh Baker, I mean, they're at least considering a true freshman over him at A&M. I'm nervous. I personally am nervous, but maybe I'm reading too much into this. But yeah, Jagasaw is the best offensive lineman in my opinion, and he goes down. So I was already nervous just from that. So yeah, we will see. Any thoughts on that, Cobb, before we move on?
Yeah, it's it's going to be a tough first week for Notre Dame if they don't get this figured out, as you were kind of alluding to. I know that now, ironically, Notre Dame's probably had a pretty good idea of what to expect in terms of the talent they're going to be facing against Texas A&M in Week 1, just because that Notre Dame defense is so stout, especially on the defensive line. But I don't know if Notre Dame has a. I think Nick Scrouton is how you pronounce his name, that the edge rusher who's possibly a top 10, first round NFL draft choice, being projected all over the place this preseason as a first team All American. Like, that's a type of guy that an Anthony Knapp or even Emil Wagner, who is a very young offensive tackle on the right side as a junior, is going to have to face in that Week 1 matchup at College Station. So, in what we've seen, and now I've only been to one practice this summer, a couple in the spring, but from what I remember seeing from the defense or the offensive line, is they certainly had their trouble against Al Golden in their defense. So hopefully that's not a sign of things to come, and not really a surprise to see Rudolph working as many bodies as possible to find the best 5 going into Texas A&M.
Yeah, Nick says maybe the coaches are just taking a look at these guys in different spots. Yeah, sure. The thing I have 2 thoughts on that is one, second time in a row, right? The media hasn't seen practice since Saturday, but it's also just a few periods of practice, but this is not the first time. And 2, you don't really just let's just move guys around just to try things out. That's spring. That's spring. That is not 16 days away from going at A&M. Maybe if
Right.
you're starting against a Division II team, sure, but you're not. You're not. So this is not the time to kind of screw around and let's try some guys out. No, that's spring ball. So it still just might be not. Still might be nothing. I don't know. Maybe Tosh had to take a quick dump when this video. Who knows? But it's definitely a notable storyline to track moving forward. Notre Dame recently got a new commitment in the 2025 class, Brandon Logan from Fort Wayne Snyder. 3-star prospect across the board, number 699 overall player, number 61 safety on 3, currently ranks in the highest as the number 40 safety when you just look at the positional rankings. Kind of one of those deals where I actually recorded my my weekly interview with Darren Pritchett. It's not going to be on our YouTube channel, but if you listen to Darren's show, you'll find it there. But I said, like, Notre Dame, as much as you would love to just sign like all 5 stars or have 100% blue chip ratio of 5 to 4 stars, just because of Notre Dame in the academics thing, you lessen your pool of players you can go after. So you're going to have some 3-star hits. You're going to have to take 3 stars, and you're going to need to hit. And I think Brandon Logan's one of those that they trust their evaluation on. Yeah, which we probably say that for every 3-star. You have good reason to think that they're going to pop, but half will, half won't, whatever. When it comes to 3-star guys, but I think Logan is a unique one with the athletic background of him being quite an impressive one. Ran a couple sub 4.5 40-yard dashes at Irish Invasion, Vanderbilt baseball commit, before even played an inning at the high school level. Like this guy's pretty legit, and he's just been a baseball player first, Kyle. Before just playing football. Just as a high school athlete, just playing for fun, and so pretty much everything you see on film is just kind of his natural athleticism and his instincts. When he focuses more on football, I think Notre Dame might have gotten a steal here for the third safety in this class to put along with Ethan Long and Jadon Blair. I like this kid for the Irish.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I'm not going to go as far to say as what some on the loose emoji message board have insinuated and even said outright that this guy's better than Ivan Taylor, who is now taking Brandon Logan's taken. I think it's a 5th or 6th defensive back spot in the
6th,
class.
yeah.
Yeah. After Notre Dame lost Taylor, listen, Taylor was, I kind of phrase it this way. He was an irreplaceable guy in the class. He was one of the guys that I think Notre Dame kind of considered the top defensive player on their board, on the commit list, like a potential 5-star guy. And Ivan Taylor showed that on film, dominating in Florida high school football. Now, Indiana high school football, I think it's a little bit more, underrated and overlooked. There's still some really good competition, especially in the division that Brandon Logan plays. I think he plays the second highest classification there out of Fort Wayne Schneider. He was the, kind of the guy on that state championship team last year, had 95 tackles coming from that safety spot. I think 4 or 5 interception or 6 interceptions, I think, with 4 return for touchdown. So this is a pretty dang good football player. And I really like how he fits into Notre Dame's defensive back class in the 2025 cycle. Because, kind of like the loose emoji rule, Mike, you know more about it than me, but
It's the best.
I don't know the exact calculation.
I'll give it to you real quick.
Yeah.
The third rule is a third will hit, be multi-year starters, the guys leading your team. And this is for a recruiting class. Third will just kind of be rotational, solid pieces, but never breakout stars. And the third will bust, transfer out, just not hit. So that's the 1/3 rule from loose emoji.
Yeah. So, basically what I was trying to say is even though we like this defensive back class so much, just from a pure statistic standpoint, not every one of these guys are going to hit and match their rankings. But Brandon Logan's a guy that I think fits very well into how they have that defensive back class assembled. And I don't even know if Notre Dame has projected him this way, but I just see Brandon Logan being like that nickel at Notre Dame, like that Jordan Clark role, the Tariq Bracy, Thomas Harper, that nickel back at Notre Dame is historically just been in at least in Marcus Freeman, Al Golden's defense, kind of since I've been covering Notre Dame, is historically really good football players, have a really good sense of the secondary. They know the assignments on the field. They're very reactionary. That's why I projected Ivan Taylor to be such a good nickel for Notre Dame, and I kind of see the same with Brandon Logan. I think Brandon Logan is only a couple steps behind Ivan Taylor, but I think they're pretty comparable prospects when you just kind of get down to the nuts and bolts of their size and some of their measurables. And I know you talked about a lot, Mike, when he committed last Saturday. Like some of his athletic times, his testing numbers are just like remarkable and
Yeah,
even better than what Taylor tested last year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I said a lot. I think Ivan Taylor, is like a top 3 player in the class for Notre Dame. So, yeah, losing him sucks, but yeah, Brandon Logan's I hate to say it's a replacement because Notre Dame was going to take Brandon Logan regardless of Ivan Taylor. It's just going to look a little bit different.
Hmm.
But Ivan Taylor's it's a nice kid for the Irish. Is he Ivan Taylor? Is Brandon Logan Ivan Taylor? No, but he does have better testing times and some things than Ivan Taylor. So it's like a low risk, high reward take for the Irish. So we're going to hear next from our sponsor of today's show, Augies Locker Room, where you can find unique, one of a kind Notre Dame items. Has moved to a new location as of was it October or November? So see Augie's new store located at 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend. It's just down the street from Notre Dame. Check out Augie's wide selection of Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, one of a kind Rockney items, so much more. You got exclusive Joe Montana signed items, famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues that you find outside the stadium. And Augie does get new stuff in all the time. If he doesn't have something in store, give him a call, 574-277-6363. And he's the guy who might be able to find it for you. You just need a guy in all aspects of life, or a girl, someone who can just do that one thing for you, the specialized trait. And Augie's is very unique, and he can go find whatever you need when it comes to Notre Dame memorabilia. So give him a call, 574-277-6363. Check out his website, augieslockerroom.com, or visit him if you're local or in town, 1733 North Ironwood Drive, and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Augie's Locker Room. Com. The headliner of the show, Kyle, is Madden Faraimo. So here's the update on Madden. And I've been saying this for like a month now. We're in this really weird time in Notre Dame recruiting where it's either there's really nothing going on, but the things that are going on are just the biggest things, right? It's like it's quiet, it's slow, but it's Deuce Knight, it's wide receivers, it's Madden, it's Nathaniel Boateng. It's like, all right, but it's a really tricky time. So it's like we don't have a ton to write about, but there are these major things happening. Again, it is weird. But Chad Simmons from On3 wrote an article headlined, Madden Faraimo will take all the time he needs to make a decision. The word on Madden was that he was going to look to take or make a commitment this summer, whether it was like late or like late July or early August, or maybe even I think originally it was early July, right after those June official visits. And now, quote, the plan is to take in a few games this season and get back on campus one more time if my schedule allows it. A decision is not expected now until sometime in the fall or closer to signing day. Notre Dame, Washington, Texas, and USC still involved for Faraimo. I will admit, like when I'm digging on 2025 stuff, it's been more quarterbacks and wide receivers. Whenever I talk to Notre Dame sources about Madden, it's feel good, but we'll see. In this update, I don't know how confident I feel in this. This is just Mike Singer's gut talking here, Kyle. Is he going to be able to get back to South Bend unofficially again before signing? I don't know, Kyle. I'm a little nervous here. USC does seem to have surged. They were a school that wasn't really involved a whole lot, kind of on the peripheral, and I don't know. Am I a little doomsday here, Kyle, or are you feeling okay about this one?
Well, I think there's two ways to look at it. And I'm going to start by kind of what you're alluding to, where it maybe feels like Notre Dame is not in as strong of a position as they were, kind of as most of the Notre Dame recruiting beat felt coming out of his official visit. No, all the RPMs, crystal balls, future casts, they all went in for Madden Faraimo coming out of his trip from South Bend. And rightfully so, because I feel like Notre Dame kind of had the edge in the recruitment. Now, I never chose to put one in because in talking to Madden, he just seemed to level it out a little bit more for me. Now, granted, I think you did put your pick in before I ended up catching up with Madden after his Notre Dame visit. So that's not on you at all. I think that was a good pick. And I think Wilt Fong has a pick in there too. So Wilt Fong's as plugged in as anyone. So did I think a early July decision, like the sooner this would have been wrapped up, the better. Just considering the momentum Notre Dame had out of that visit. But on the flip side, I think that if you want to kind of spin it this way and think of it this way, I think also him taking this into the season also bodes well for Notre Dame because I think we're expecting Al Golden to have one of the best defenses in college football. And even though the linebackers are probably one of the youngest units on the team outside of Jack Kaiser, the 6-year player there, what's going to be really exciting to see out of that linebacking core is Max Bulla is going to rotate, I think, like 6 guys. And 6 guys are going to see the field on game day. And that's a story that I forget if it was Horkett or Sobel wrote earlier this week on Blue and Gold. Did a great job on outlining that. Like, Bola's going to play his guys. So if Madden Faraimo, if he wants to get on the field early and he wants to play for a really good defense, like Notre Dame very well could be selling him on that pitch. Not to mention that Faraimo also told Chad Simmons in a story that he already loves the academics and education Notre Dame can offer him. And, he's a very faith-based kid. Goes to Sarah Catholic. Faith is very important to him. So Notre Dame already has those two things going in his factor or going in its favor. And I'll wrap up my final point this way, Mike, is there is reason to be worried about Texas and Washington too. I think even though Washington's going to be rebuilding this year, Texas very well could be in the thick of the college football playoff conversation and conversation for a bye. And even though you wouldn't think of those two schools being a contender for a SoCal linebacker, like there's reason to kind of be cautious there because I was just looking at some of the top alumni from JSerra Catholic, and their top 2 guys. And I wonder if I can be bold and try to share my screen while I do this.
I believe in you.
Yeah, I'm producing here.
Ooh.
So, no, that's you. Let me see. I'm going to hit present.
Yeah, present. Present, and then share screen, Chrome tab.
Yeah, this is bad radio.
No, you got it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
Believe in you, Kyle.
Yeah, top alumni here from JSerra Catholic. Let's see. Do I got it up? And we'll do one of these guys.
No. Go back and now click on the add to stage. Teaching Kyle on the fly.
Hover over.
Hover over the box. There it is. Let's go.
Good deal. So, anyway, so by the way, On3 has something really dang cool happening right now with our high school coverage. Has expanded a great deal, including projections of like the outcomes of games, records,
high school games, the Massie ratings. I think Massie ratings is a big deal, or was at least before in college football rankings. There was like the Massie rating, so yeah, On3's partnered up with Massie, which is sick. But yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to my point before we started this fiasco, but look, top 2 JSerra Catholic football alumni: Dante Pettis, Luke Wettenberg, both signed with Washington, both became NFL draft choices. So that's something that I think is working in Washington's favor there. And also they have a current JSerra Catholic. But this is kind of what On3 is doing real quick with their high school stuff, with the Massie ratings.
It's so cool.
Yeah, look, predictions for each game. And you can view the full schedule. So, yeah, anyway, shows some of the top guys on the roster for JSerra Catholic. One of the guys here, Jake Flores, committed to Washington. So that's something that they have in their favor, the Huskies. And then one more note on Texas is they've actually, under Steve Sarkisian, have recruited the SoCal area pretty impressively, especially landing like the top Trinity League player last year, I think, and Brandon Baker, 5-star offensive tackle. Also got a guy at St. John Bosco, wide receiver, DeAndre Moore, I think is his name. Yeah, DeAndre Moore. So anyway, Texas and Washington both have reasons, I think, to be optimistic from those standpoints. Not to mention his connections with both those coaching staffs. So, summarizing it up this way, if I'm Notre Dame, I just hope that the faith-based education and then kind of what they can show in the field this fall ends up working out in their favor.
Yep. So that's Madden Faraimo. Kind of wrap up my thoughts. Like, yeah, I've heard nothing but optimism and confidence on the Notre Dame side of things, but I don't know, man. When you're the school that leads and then things stretch on, that's usually not a good sign. But I've been wrong before. I've been wrong again, and I'm not even predicting that it's going to go bad here for Notre Dame. But that's just my gut feeling right now.
So, you know how you should have summarized your point, Mike?
How's that?
You should have said, but Kingston Viliamawasa. One reason to be optimistic. Comparable recruitment.
Yeah, but that only takes you so far. That only takes you so far. So, all right, we got a couple new offers that went out. Which Kyle, I can't remember the last time we talked about a new offer for Notre Dame, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on these guys just because it's so new. But we do have 2 new offers in the 2026 class at wide receiver. And my first thought was like, man, Notre Dame, a good reminder that how national Notre Dame's recruiting base is. So they offered Vance Spafford, who is crazy speedster. Let me pull up his Twitter real quick. Can I go to, let's see, maybe it's in his NIL. 10.69 in the 100 meters and reports a 4.35 40-yard dash. Well, I don't have in front of me how verified that is, but even if it's anything close to that, pretty freakish. 83 receptions, 1,500 yards, 22 touchdowns playing for Mission Viejo, which is like, damn, like really impressive. Broke some receiving records at his high school. So it's Vance Spafford kid is he's the real deal. Bunch of offers. Oregon, Georgia, yeah. I mean, you go down the list. Notre Dame joined the mix. I think this was a couple days ago. I think it was Tuesday. Notre Dame offered him, nation's number 146 overall player, number 21 wide receiver from Southern California. And then they also offer from Columbia, South Carolina, Ridgeview High School, number 62 overall player, number 7 wide receiver. We haven't got to catch up with Spafford yet. I know you caught up with Jordan Gidron. That's this young man from South Carolina, 6'2", 185 pounds. Spafford's at 5'10", 175, by the way. So, yeah, a couple new wide receivers who Notre Dame offered this week.
You mentioned some of the speed that Spafford has. Like Gidron, he's a speedy guy too. Like it's very evident what Notre Dame's going to be looking for in the 26 cycle. It's evident what they want in 2025, and it's speed. And Gidron has it. He's a 4.55 guy in the 40, and he won the 100 and 200 meter dash, the Class 4A state championships in South Carolina this spring. So pretty impressive speed from this guy. And I talked to him yesterday, and he told me that Notre Dame basically told him that they like his speed, they like his ability to break tackles and turn some small plays into big ones. And every top school in the country is after this guy. So Notre Dame's going to have a little bit of an uphill climb to start his recruitment. Some of the top schools that he mentioned to me, he did drop a top schools list, I think earlier this summer, but right now the ones that are sticking out is he told me Auburn, South Carolina, Florida State, Ole Miss, NC State. I asked him why no Northern schools or Midwest Big Ten programs were in the mix for him in that top group. He pretty much just told me that not many have gotten in the mix yet, and possibly Notre Dame might lead the way there. So Irish have done very well in North Carolina under Marcus Freeman. So hey, and South Carolina with Jalen Sneed, Marcus Freeman kind of spearhead that recruitment, right? So maybe they can get it going on the offensive side of the ball in the Palmetto State.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple new offers there for the Irish. And yeah, looking forward to catching up with Spafford hopefully here soon. But with fall camp, season's really getting underway here for these kids. It's a little bit trickier or it's not as easy to get some of these interviews, but we'll definitely be keeping track of them over at blueandgold.com. Let's hear from our next sponsor, Rog Shop, the husband and wife outfit, as Mr. Rogue and his wife Shar are craft cannabis farmers who specialize in small batch sustainable plant medicine, a true holistic type of small business. Farm and grow everything themselves and do everything by hand. Check out their website, rogueshop.com, ROGUE shop.com. They sell all sorts of products, folks, from CBD, THC edibles, tinctures, smokables, bath salts, pain creams, vapes, candles, soaps, and more. When you hop on their websites, you can jump on a chat with the owners, and you can ask them any questions that you might have. So check out rogueshop.com if you have issues sleeping, chronic pain, anxiety, stress, or anything close to that stuff. So yeah, check it out, rogueshop.com. And when you talk to them, tell them Mike Singer from Blue and Gold sent you. Kyle, I talked about this a little bit on my show Wednesday night with Tim Hyde. This gold standard I did where I broke down the names in the recruiting office and like their roles. I would just recommend people go to it. If you just like Google Mike Singer on 3, pull up my author page, and you scroll down, you'll find this gold standard. It is free too, so if you're not a subscriber, I wanted to make this free because, like, yeah, we could have maybe sold some subscriptions with it, but I wanted to have this be something where it was informational for people because I get asked all the time, like, what do these men and women do in the recruiting office? So yeah, inside look at Notre Dame's recruiting office and those staff members. Really interesting stuff, Kyle, because there's like a relationship building component, and then you have like with your Chad Bowden, your Carter and your Caleb Davis, and then you have like your evaluation team, Matt Jansen, and like Caleb and Chad. Those guys help evaluate as well, but like Jansen's kind of like the evaluation lead, and then you hire Anthony Tresh from PFF, who's like the analytics lead in recruiting and portal and evaluating their own roster. I think it was pretty interesting, and I'm sure you have thoughts, Kyle.
Well, I'm curious, like, how much different is this than what we saw under Brian Kelly when you covered towards the end of his era? Like, I don't remember this many personalities and personnel members and that were working behind the scenes.
No, but that was a few years ago, and dude, I was just trying to figure out how to freaking do my job 5 years ago, let alone try to dig into every role in the recruiting department. But no, I mean, like, yeah, just thinking back, no, I mean, it's more like sending out mail. Like, I'm like half joking there, but I can't really think of anything comparable. It does seem like a more well-oiled machine.
Yeah, so my big takeaway here is this is kind of Marcus Freeman and Chad Bowden's effort to have Notre Dame catch up with the rest of the big powers in college football. Like, if you go to some of these state schools like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and you just go to their football staff directory, and you see the number of names that are listed there and the positions and the roles, like, it's remarkable. Like, I was even looking, I was like, man, if you're the head coach of one of these programs, like, how do you actually know every one of these people's names? Because, like, there's so many positions and so many roles at all these other um, college football programs. And the reason I asked you about kind of how the way Brian Kelly did is because I kind of feel like Notre Dame was operating understaffed. And it seems like honestly part of the reason is just because they don't have the space in the Goog for the amount of staff members. So hopefully with the new renovation of the football facility, that more offices, more bodies, more personnel, more staff members. So I think that could be a part of it. But yeah, the way I look at this, man, is it's just really. I think you kind of mentioned it in your story as well. Like this is Freeman's team, and like this is Bowden's team too. Like this is the Freeman and Bowden show at Notre Dame. Like
Yeah.
you see in the NFL, like how there's GM and head coach um, uh, tandems. And the only thing that's going to be different about college is like Chad Bowden's not going to be able to hire and fire head coaches, or at least not to my knowledge, even though he's technically like associate athletic director. Like that's going to be Pete Bavacqua,
Yeah.
answering that call. And it's kind of interesting because like some NFL teams, like the head coach and GM, they both answer separately to the NFL owner, whereas some NFL coaches answer to the GM, and the GM has the ability to fire him. So it's not so much like that. But yeah, I think this truly is like Freeman, and it's ultimately going to be Freeman's program.
Yeah.
But this is Bowden really putting his stamp on it as well, bringing guys like Caleb Davis back, who he has ties with going all the way to his time at Cincinnati, like really going above and beyond to bring Carter or keep Carter on in the fold after Wisconsin tried to poach him away. So that's kind of how I look at it.
If you were to ask me who is the most influential person in the Notre Dame football program aside from Marcus Freeman, I think a lot of people would say coordinator, D coordinator, like O coordinator, D coordinator, right? Golden or Denbrock, just because of like play calling. But at the end of the day, you can call the best plays, but if your players can't execute or they're not any good, what are you going to do about it? I might make an argument for Chad Bowden being the next to Freeman the most influential or critical, important, whatever person in the program. He quite literally has his hands on every aspect of what Notre Dame does, in like a leading role. From high school value, there's like 3 buckets of this. Is kind of what I've gotten. You can read the story. There is the high school recruiting bucket. There is the transfer portal bucket, and then there's like because of the one-time transfer thing, you got all these players cycling in and out, and there's like a current roster evaluation and management bucket of it. And I think like Bowden is crucial and is a big decision maker in all 3. That's at least kind of my view of it from the outside looking in. And Bowden's always been one of those guys that we've talked about as an important piece, and we talk about him more and more, and it's become more of a public name that everyone knows about. But like now it seems to have gotten to a point where it's like, oh, dang, GM. Like I think now it's very well known that Bowden is, he's extremely important. I think you can definitely make the case that, next to Freeman, he's the most important, like decision maker or biggest like influencer or whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of my spiel on that, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Like I think no matter what, Marcus Freeman is always going to have the final say. But what's really important about the Freeman and Bowden relationship is like these guys are so close, man. I mean, they've known each other for so long, going back to the Cincinnati days. Like, pretty sure Freeman was a groomsman in Chad Bowden's wedding. Like, that's how close that relationship is. So, just kind of Marcus Freeman, man, putting his stamp on the program and turning some of it over to a guy he really trusts.
Yeah. Lastly, Kyle, you going anywhere tomorrow? for any games? You heading out anywhere?
No, man. Midwest doesn't really get started game wise until next week, and I pretty much got the season covered of guys I'm going to see during game week. So not going to hit up any scrimmages.
So is this like your last Friday until you're out on the road every week for the rest of forever? Pretty much for the rest of the year?
Yep. That's this is the last week of freedom.
Well, I am headed to Lake Mary tomorrow. I really wanted to see a practice. Kyle, I don't know if you agree with me, but like I think practices are the most valuable thing to watch when you're going out and seeing a recruit because they're like guaranteed to get action. And it's always competitive, and you can get up close and personal out of practice. You never know. You go to a high school game and they'll, you have to stand over here or you can't just, it's a pain in the ass. But I wasn't able to go to a Noah Grubbs practice, but I am going to his preseason classic. And another thing about games versus practice, it's all exclusive footage. Game, if you go shoot a game, it's like, well, anyone can go watch it on Huddle afterwards. But we do get cool angles, warm-ups, that's always neat. But yeah, so I'm going to talk to Noah tomorrow, shoot warm-ups, and then I'm guessing he'll play like a half of their preseason classic against Oviedo. Oviedo. Okay, I think it's Oviedo. So yeah, really excited about that. All the talk about Deuce Knight. It's like, oh yeah, you got a quarterback committed in the 2026 class. So I am looking forward to seeing Grubbs tomorrow. So you can find coverage about that. I'll be tweeting about it on my Twitter account at Mike T. Singer, posting about it on our Blue and Gold message board, and then I'll have content from it in the ensuing days. So you can check that out at blueandgold.com. So that is, just wanted to mention that real quick. Justin says, come on 3, need to bump Noah to a 4-star at least. I mean, look, on 3 just doesn't do that many 3 stars early on. He's the number 192 overall player. If he stays there, he will get a 4-star. But look, the people got to calm down about rankings. If Noah Grubbs were to flip to Michigan tomorrow, you guys would not be yelling about let's get this kid bumped anymore. I mean, we gotta. We haven't had to talk about rankings in a while, though. I will say that it's been very nice. I would in anything but rankings debates, but they'll be here soon, I'm sure. So, anyways, all in fun, Justin. All in fun. Well, Kyle, we really fit in a lot for a 43-minute show, but we are going to end it there. Please hit the thumbs up, folks, on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're just tuning in and you missed some of the beginning stuff of the show, hit that rewind. I thought the beginning of the show was really good. Talk about some of the team and the Notre Dame potential shakeup to the first team offensive line. So go check that out. Just hit that rewind, watch it over here. If you listen via podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and detail why you're leaving us a 5-star review as well. And yeah, folks, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content. Appreciate everyone tuning in. As always, we will catch you next time.